Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
You mean to wish me a good morning, or do you mean that it is a good morning whether I want it or not?
Please go away. Let me speak for the love of God.
Whoa, that'll never get old, Ben. That'll never get old. Surely the most spine-tingling moment in Aussie music, would you say?
I don't care for it myself. No, you're right. It is.
We're kicking things off strong here. Thanks for hitting play. This is a Good Movie Monday. We're the weekly podcast dedicated to nerdy cinematic ramblings. My name is Glenn Cochran. I enjoy long movies about beaches and candlelit movie nights and animal films. And Ben Helwig, sitting across from me, he enjoys driving monster trucks, steamy Dutch ovens, and he goes off like a firecracker in the sack.
I do like a good Dutch oven.
And you can call Ben's love line on 0055 717 717.
Hi, Becky. I hear you've got a boyfriend. You've got a message for him.
There will be people that will pick up my reference, and it is hilarious. Good Movie Monday is our website. Ben's about to interject.
No. I was just going to say I should have said I'd never heard of it. I never heard of it. That would have been a better gag.
It would be. Oh well.
Because that's impossible.
Can't take it back.
Can't do it.
Can't do it.
rewind it. It's not like this is pre-recorded or anything. And
I
you
know.
can just edit it in.
So yes, our website is goodmoviemonday.com, and that will give you direct access to everything that we produce, from videos and interviews and games and all other stuffs, as well as another podcast.
Thank you very much for that we.
Yep, you're welcome, mate. Well, we are a bit excited for this week's show because our special guest is Rob Farnham, who is the son of the Australian rock icon John Farnham. Everybody knows by now that the new documentary John Farnham Finding the Voice has blown up the Aussie box office. I think it's become the highest grossing Australian documentary of all time. So that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And I believe it played on nearly every screen in Australia. So it's a big deal. And because of that, we're going to have a bit of a Farnsey episode. I thought I would extend the love this week and I'm going to try to theme this all the way through.
I was going to say, by extending the love, you mean by not asking me what song I want to play for the closing night, for the closing credits? That kind of extent. You're just like, I'm just going to pick my own Farnsey songs.
I think it's kind of obvious where we're going with this one.
But I could have. Well,
I don't think I'll disappoint you. This episode is going to reach a lot of people because everyone loves Farnsey. So we're extending
you
the
wanted
episode.
to take me out of it as much as possible.
Exactly right. Exactly right. But you know what? We should probably do a bit of a content warning here because if this is going to hit a lot of John Farnham fans, a lot of them enjoy their entertainment wholesome and a lot more so than what we deliver, let's just say.
Usually deliver, yeah.
That's right. So if you're easily offended by swearing or lowbrow humour, now's the time to switch off or at least keep going until you've had your fill, which is probably any moment.
I can keep it clean.
No, you can't.
I tried like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I was like, no more swearing. That lasted just that first segment of that episode.
That's right. Not possible. Not possible. But it's business as usual. Otherwise, in a moment, we're going to drag Jarrett Garn in for a chat. He's going to talk about the new releases of the week and other physical media news. And those boys from Kentucky will be here to impart their boneheaded wisdom. I believe they're even taking a run at Aussie rock. So there we go.
There we go.
But Ben, let's have a chat. Do you enjoy John Farnham's music? And you can say no because I'm pretty sure his pockets are well lined. And, he doesn't mind the odd criticism or two.
Oh, no, look, who doesn't enjoy...
Correct answer, sir.
Who doesn't enjoy John Farnham's music? Like, of course I do. I mean, I think a lot of people are, we're always waiting for when's the final tour actually going to be the final tour? Like that,
Don't say
that gag.
You're going to hear me talk about that in a bit,
okay.
and it doesn't go down
It doesn't go well?
No.
I mean, look, I get it because, never say never, but never say never.
Yeah.
Just don't say it, and then no one will mind. But that was always that was a joke even as a kid.
Yeah,
like 20 years ago, that was a gag. And I think unlike a lot of people, I loved all these little river band stuff too.
Bloody oath. Bloody oath.
The other guy, what a fucking great song. Down on the Border. fucking
I thought
great.
you were going to say the other guy. Who needs him?
Who needs him? Yeah. Glenn Shorrock. No, there's not enough. There's not enough bald entertainers out there in the world.
We need them.
Yeah.
Like cool ones.
And I like that he had to eat humble pie and come back.
Well, yeah,
'Cause he left for his solo career.
there is
didn't
that.
happen, and
There
then-
is that. But and look what's become of the Little River Band. Like, it's shocking. Have you seen what they're at now? Like, it's not the Little River Band at all.
No, I just assumed that they perform at the Rudy Hill RSL.
No, the original Little River Band still exists, and they're what they're called, like Horick Shaw and something. I don't remember their names, but they're not legally allowed to use the term Little River Band because it's now an American band
Oh, really?
that consists of one person that had something to do with the original band. He got ownership of the name, and now it's just an entirely American band that just cashes in on all of the glory days.
Yeah,
And they still tour. They've got a huge website. They're a big thing, but nobody in America knows that they're Aussie.
That
As
they're
you'll
not.
hear
Yeah, right.
when the Boneheads talk about Aussie rock.
Yeah, right. That's very interesting.
So the original LRB do tour now, and they do lots of RSLs and
Why wouldn't you?
that's where the fucking good music happens, is those little
Yeah.
bands, those little venues, I should say.
Because you don't seem to have pub music is a thing of the past.
Yep.
So it's like a big arena show, maybe the Corner Hotel,
Mm-hmm.
but even the Corner Hotel, like I remember. I mean, this is showing how cheap I am. But I remember when Regina Spektor came out and it was $60 a ticket, and I was like, "Who the fuck does she think she is? $60 a ticket." And I look back on that now, and I apologies for that swear word, but that's
No.
where I was coming from at the time.
Oh, so see, we've broken the promise
Broken
already.
it
The
already.
pledge is done.
But now, like $60 is cheap. But that was at somewhere like the Corner or
Yep.
the SB, and you're like, who's paying $60 for that? But now that's cheap.
Interesting you say that, because a little later on I was going to just do a bit of a side recommendation, but I'll do it now. I saw that documentary, Ego, the Michael Gudinski story.
Yeah.
It is brilliant, I'll say that, and it does tie in with this episode nicely just because of its theme. But he talks about that in the documentary, how once upon a time, album sales, like a cost of an album was up here,
Yeah.
and a concert was down here, and now it's just completely flipped on itself.
Well, that's always been the joke about Record Store Day, because it used to be that you released albums to advertise your live shows.
Yep.
And then it switched, and you did live shows to advertise your record sales, and then it switched again
Yep.
to being now that Spotify exists,
Mm-hmm.
your physical albums are really just there to try and get people to come to your live shows.
That's right. It's nuts.
It's a crazy mixed up world.
It certainly is. So we've got a good show. Let's just put it that way. But before we throw to our first break, I just want to pick your brain for a second, because last week the new teaser poster for Toxic Avenger dropped, and I was just keen to get your thoughts on this, as well as an image of Peter Dinklage as Toxie.
Oh, I haven't actually seen the image of Peter Dinklage's Toxie.
Yeah.
I've seen the poster.
Well, it's a very ambiguous image because he's kind of in shadows. You can't quite see him.
Then I have seen that image.
Yeah, where he's
I didn't know that
running
was
with
him.
the mop.
It was on the internet.
Yeah.
I couldn't really tell what it was. I was like, well, yeah, it didn't look like the Toxic Avenger that
Yeah.
I'm kind of familiar with. Like it wasn't like that the kind of hero pose.
It's a
you see on all the
reimagining.
poses.
It's
Oh yeah,
because
And
he's not
yeah.
playing Melvin or Melvo. What's his name in the movie?
Melvin.
Melvin Junko.
Yeah.
He's playing Winston something or other.
yeah, right. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's a whole new thing.
Yeah.
It's been taken away from Troma.
Well, Troma are still behind it. They're producing it.
Well.
And Lloyd has made a lot of comments about the script and how much he loves it. So it's not one that he's bitter about. Like, he's really good.
Is it like Charles Band produced
Probably.
Puppet Master Littlest Reich, where
Probably.
really they paid him some money for
Yep.
for the rights, and he gets a producer credit, but they keep him away from the.
What
actual,
I believe this is for a very long time, Troma were very much in the process of getting the Toxic Crusaders movie happening with a studio, which goes right back to the Ninja Turtle days, and it's always been a thing. And this apparently is sort of the residual of that. Like, it's finally got up and running, but it's back to Toxic Avenger, but it's still going to be PG-13, and so it's sort of a blend of all that.
I mean, look, it defies logic considering the success of Deadpool.
Yeah.
You would think, Toxic Avenger is Troma's major identifiable
It's their flagship.
IP.
Mm-hmm.
You'd think that they would go for an R-rated
Yep.
superhero comedy a la Deadpool and
I would-
cash in on that.
I would think so, but maybe they're just trying to cash in on the Guardian style, of superhero
Yeah.
movie where it's family friendly and it gets maybe potential fans of the original with the new crop
With
of
the new kids. Yeah, that is true. Look, it could
know.
work. The poster, I don't know. Like it looks like some nice teaser art.
Well, that's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the final artwork.
Yeah, it just strikes me as when Warner Brothers or Roadshow or something do a line of a DVD line, and they bring out all of their famous ones with these kind of,
Yep.
Almost clip art-y
Yep.
kind of designs, which they look cool. They're great.
Yep.
But they're also, they're not the reason those movies became iconic.
Correct.
Like their original posters are.
Yep.
So
This one's
I
been
think it's
described
interesting.
as a cross between that Suicide Squad art and Terrence and Phillip from
Yeah.
South Park. If you go to newsly.me and download that app, it is fantastic. It's the best way to listen to Good Movie Monday as well as our other podcast, Wednesday Up Late. It's a super app that has all of the news from around the world, all the highest trending articles, and then this app puts it into your phone and reads the news stories back to you in a natural human voice. You've heard me talk about it before, but I really do mean it. It's the best way you can possibly listen to us. And we have a special offer for you. If you want to give it a try and upgrade to their premium service, which gets you a whole lot more, we'll get you a free month. So go to newsly.me, download it, use the exclusive code Monday without the O, MNDAY. Give it a shot, see what you think. This is the only part of the show that you can actually see. We record this one on video, so here we are. Join us on Facebook if you haven't already. Jarrett, how you going?
Very good, gentlemen. Very good. It's a good week for home entertainment. There's some diverse sort of programming coming out. And for instance, the key release I actually want to discuss, which ties in rather well with the guest on this episode, is the John Farnham doco, Finding the Voice. It's coming out on DVD and Blu-ray, which is kind of unheard of because you don't see many documentaries get a Blu-ray release in this day and age, let alone an Aussie doco. But I'm so happy it is because it's a great doco. I checked it out on Channel 7 when they broadcast it live about a month ago. And I don't have a massive interest in John Farnham, but, I'm interested in the character and the story. And I thought it was really done well, like a mix of archival footage, talking heads, and it really just, celebrated his legacy. And at this timely sort of, where he may never sing again.
Yeah, well,
seems sort of fitting.
We've been talking about it on the show, and I like in this film, it's much more, it's a love letter between two mates. Like, it's a love story between two pals, because it's as much a Glenn Wheatley story as it is a John Farnham story.
And it handles the whole Glenn Wheatley aspect beautifully, like that Farnham never turned his back on him. He always knew where he came from. He knew the chap that had given him the opportunity, and those two were just like blood brothers. It's actually a beautiful story. It didn't have me jumping on iTunes and, streaming any John Farnham, but I know that it did have that impact. I saw like the morning talk shows the following day, and within less than 24 hours, John Farnham's top of the pops again,
Well,
Australia.
the top 10 charts, I think 5 of them were John Farnham releases.
It's incredible. But I hope this has every bit of success on home entertainment because obviously it's aired, it's on catch up, but this is an opportunity for other people to check it out as well as the fans to pick it up. And the fact that they can pick up a Blu-ray is terrific. And the fact that Universal Sony have gone to the effort of including extra content on there as well. There's like additional interviews and some BTS footage. So it's good that they've actually made a solid effort of it. And I believe it's like the highest earning, Australian doco possibly of all time now.
It is.
Theatrically, which is just incredible. And I know like a lot of people that are in my neighborhood that actually went and saw it theatrically too. So it was great to think that they made a trek to the movies to see it. But yeah,
it's screened on every screen in Australia, even all the rural little ones.
Phenomenal. Yeah, it's phenomenal. It just shows how much of an icon he is, and it's a terrific celebration of him. So yeah, great that one's coming out on home entertainment. Some other titles coming from Universal Sony, though. We've got Fast and Furious X, and I do say Fast and Furious X because it's been redubbed that for the home entertainment release. They've emblazed that on the artwork, all but I think maybe the steelbook because they're directly imported from elsewhere.
Yep.
But yeah, they've retitled it because I guess people don't understand that Fast X would be Fast and Furious 10. I don't know. Anyway, they've done that.
What happened to, like, these days, every movie that gets released with the Roman numeral seems to be pronounced as, like, X. But back in the day, it was always, the number, like it was 10.
Yeah, totally.
But the posters, I don't understand. Like, we were at a screening recently where I won't give names out, but the publicist, revealed the movie X. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's 10. It's number 10. Like, it's Jason X fucked everyone up with that one.
I think we know what the film is. It's got something to do with James Winnell having started this franchise properly. I wasn't even at the screening, but I know. So that is interesting. I thought it was a Twitter crossover, that one, though. I thought it was like they'd held Elon Musk captive and tortured him for 90 minutes, and that's guaranteed box office because no one knows if the Zuckerberg and Elon Musk fight's going to happen. Zuckerberg's pretty much given up hope on it. So I guess the next best thing is seeing him tortured for 90 minutes on the big screen. I don't have a problem with Elon Musk. I actually don't have a problem with either of them, to be honest. But I would have watched, a fight between them for sure.
You're going to hedge your bets against our new corporate overlords. You don't want to get the wrong
yeah,
side
true.
of it, just in case.
I'm backing Zuckerberg. I mean, yes, he's younger, he's fitter, he's got, discipline in, different martial arts or whatever. And Musk is refusing to do any sort of preparation for it. And on top of that, Zuckerberg owns more of the platforms that I use socially. I don't even like Twitter or X or whatever the fuck you want to call it. I hate it. And I rarely post on it, even for work. It's just...
But let's face it, I mean, X/Twitter is just this little side hustle. I mean, that's all it is.
Oh, yeah, totally. Absolutely.
Honest,
Absolutely.
I don't use Twitter. But I like Twitter, and I like that it's called X now because it is the only social media platform that's allowed
unrestricted. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
They ruined Tumblr for everyone.
Yeah,
Justin Timberlake.
No one even talks about Tumblr anymore, and that's probably precisely the reason why.
Yeah,
I think everything moved over to the paid gateway of OnlyFans.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what it is now.
And hey, I think Threads has just died. Like it's only been up a month, and it's already kind of nothing.
It's apparently, they had 50 million subscribers within the first few days, and they reckon that the people have just dropped off completely. The argument was that obviously it was very restrictive, in terms of content. Plus, it's very ad revenue driven, so it's just pushing. Every second post seems to be a sponsored post, and I ain't got time for that. I did one post via the Monster Fest social media for it, and then gave up on it because I kept seeing Kim Kardashian come up. I'm like, why is this coming up in my feed? I don't even follow her.
A whole other kind of monster.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, other Universal Sony Pictures titles coming out this week, which I won't spend too much time talking about. The Book Club 2. But
why don't you want to talk about that at length?
Well, I haven't seen the original yet, and I'm waiting to to do the double of them. No, I will watch them one day. Undoubtedly, I'm a big Diane Keaton fan. Let's face it. Coastal Grandma rules. Yeah. I thought he was a Jane Fonda fan, and no,
a bit of everyone.
It's after Sleeper, how can you have any?
We're all in it for the Poms bang, right? It's all about the Poms bang.
I'm not here for 80 for Brady, that's for sure. But yeah, that sequel's coming out, and again, Universal Sony doing a Blu-ray for that, which is, it's kind of baffling, that one, to be honest, because I didn't think the key demographic would be wanting it in Blu-ray. I would have thought the key demographic for, say, Violent Night might have wanted that on Blu-ray. But anyway, Universal Sony, and it's bizarre. But on that note, actually, another surprising thing is overseas, now Universal have started releasing titles that they initially released to DVD and Blu-ray on 4K only 6 to 12 months later. And one of those titles, being that very film, is now they're doing a 4K of Violent Night, and they're doing a 4K of The Black Phone. And it's sort of like, I don't know how many times you can kind of double dip on fans, particularly when you're not putting anything new on it. It's the exact same release, essentially, same special features. It might have a slipcase, but it's just in 4K, and it just feels like a cash grab. And yeah, it's a shame, because I would have liked to have maybe they wait 6-12 months longer, license to it to a boutique label, and they do an actual proper edition.
Will you be buying those?
Well, I bought neither of them on Blu-ray because I foresaw this.
Yeah.
I thought a boutique might do them, and I'm glad I did hold out, because I got very close recently. JB had a sale. I think it was like buy two, get one free, and there was a 20% off, and I could have picked them up for $8 a piece. But the fool I am, I'd rather pay $45 for one of them on 4K, because I need it in the best quality I possibly can, on possibly the last physical format we'll know. Anyway, that's it for Universal Sony. Another release, though, that's coming out, an indie from Umbrella, is Sky Pirates, which is making its Blu-ray debut, actually making its disc debut.
Amazing.
And we've spoken about in the past, but yeah, I can't wait to check out this restoration and the abundance of special features, particularly that Indiana Clones trailer reel, which looks phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. Like, it's been like a cheeky favorite of mine for years.
Yeah, it's a classic. I think I only parted with the VHS recently, probably because of the news of this new Blu-ray. Then another release that's coming out from Viavision that I'm sure you're very excited about, Glenn, the Prophecy Collection is coming out.
That's right.
Yep,
Oh,
it's
yeah, I
all the
do like
Prophecy
that.
movies,
I do like
and
that
for
series.
once they're going to be on their individual Blu-ray discs, which means less compression. So I think that they're existing transfers, but they'll be less compressed. Plus, there's an abundance of special features, being some newly created content with the actual filmmakers as well as film historians. It's a pretty comprehensive set. The only disappointing thing is that Vinegar Syndrome in the States have announced they're going to release the first three in a trilogy set on 4K UHD with brand new scans
You know
and
what?
brand new special features. And it's just timing. It's like, had this come out a year ago, there would have been no issue. But I assume that Vinegar Syndrome will see it out with the remainder of the films
Well, I
in maybe
mean,
4K sets.
the first three are the only ones that actually matter. Like they form
Yeah.
a cohesive trilogy, and the others are tack-ons. But as the completist in me, like I'm gonna have the whole
Yeah.
collection.
Gotta have them all. It's like I'm rebuying Hellraiser when Arrow re-release it, because now they're doing it on 4K, which I'm down for. But they're doing 1, 2, 3, and now they're doing Bloodlines 4 as part of that set. Their previous Blu-ray set only had the first 3 films. And now I'm like a sucker, I'll buy that. And then when they announce that they're doing the 5-film box set with Inferno or whatever it was called, the following year I'll probably update it again. And let's face it, I'll probably only really rewatch the first 2, maybe first 3 films.
Come
Yeah,
on, take it all
yeah.
away.
Oh no, look, I still haven't got to Revelations yet.
pretty
I did
hefty
watch obviously the reboot, but I haven't seen Revelations yet. Something about that fat kid from oh no, what was it? Hey Dad. He looks like the fat kid from Hey Dad as Pinhead in it. Kind of turned me off. Then the last one I want to mention, which I've mentioned many a time, but they are finally surfacing on 4K UHD locally from Roadshow, from the Warner catalog. We've got East of Eden, we've got Rio Bravo, and then Enter the Dragon, all coming out on 4K. And I'll remind you that they do include the Blu-ray, which has the special feature content, which the US aren't getting anymore, and the US are really angry about the fact that they have to jump on the digital platform in order to watch the additional content, and rightly so.
The
Are we
weekend.
getting the slipcases though, Jarrett? Are we getting the
We don't know, but here's the we don't get the slipcases. If you really want everything, you've got to go to the UK. They get the slips, the Blu-ray, but they'll still have their ratings emblazed on the cover as well. And I think they've got those awful 100 years of Warner on the slip anyway. So
Well,
yeah, I don't know.
this weekend just gone was the 50th anniversary of Enter the Dragon.
Insane, 50 years, God.
We're getting old.
Yeah, it'd be
guys.
great. I mean, Enter the Dragon is, in my mind, the penultimate, Bruce Lee film.
And
But
tournament
geez.
movie. Like,
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly what they should have modeled, say, Mortal Kombat the movie on, or something of that nature. But that said, I mean, after Bruce died, certainly had a lot of cash-in movies, and there's that documentary that's premiered recently, I think at Fantasia, Enter the Clones of Bruce Lee, which just looks phenomenal. And yeah, I really hope that somehow that gets seen somewhere in Australia at some festival down the track. Anyway, that's it for me, gentlemen. I can't divulge any more information than that. Anyway, until next time, stay physical, gents.
fine, you can just decide where we end it. No worries.
That's the end. That's the end.
All right. Well, now is the time where we usually play a little game, and I don't want to take away from that. I do have a little bit of fun in store for us in the going along with the theme of the show. But I did want to have a quick talk about Riddle of Fire, which I saw at MIF last week. This movie,
I'm jealous of you for seeing this.
it is like I'm disappointed with myself because it played at Cannes and I didn't go and see it. I didn't put that much effort in. It was playing too far away. I just couldn't be bothered. I'm so glad that I saw it at MIF. I'm so glad I saw it on the big screen. I don't know. It has picked up a sales agent. I don't know if it's going to get a theatrical release hereafter. Hopefully it gets some kind of release, if not here in the US at least, because it does deserve it. But it is great. It's like
So jealous.
it's like a kids movie for adults that you just don't see anymore.
Yeah.
If you ever, it's like Goonies for adults, but still for kids. And this guy, it's his first film. This guy his name is Weston Rizzoli, and he is actually in the film as well, which I didn't realize until the end. But he has created this like the main strength the main strength of the film, apart from the performances, which are astonishing considering that the kids are like 5, 10, and 10 and 10 kind of thing.
Yeah.
He's just created this alternate reality Earth, which is amazing. Like, and right from the start, it's got this kind of Celtic mysticism font that he uses for the credits and the titles and stuff. It reminds me very much of and now I can't remember the guy's name. The guy who directed It Follows and Under the Silver Lake.
It's got
and
3 names.
Myth of the something Michael.
Yeah. I know who you mean, and so does everybody else.
Yes, that guy. Like you remember in It Follows when they're playing the little handheld games and they're like, like I don't know if those things ever existed in America. I've never seen them before. So it's like he created these, and it turned the movie kind of switched into where you couldn't tell what time period it was from because it looked like almost like a Gatchamon rather than a mobile phone. So you're like, what are they? Yeah. What's happened? Where is this set? And what this kind of movie is kind of like about. And it's a quest movie. These 3 kids want to they perform this elaborate heist at the start of the film, and they steal a game system which they've basically created for the film, and they want to play. But when they get home, their sick mother, has put a lock code on the TV because she wants them to go outside and play, and they just, please, can we just play just for 4 hours? She's like, no, just for 3 hours, just 3 hours. But she basically says, look, okay, you can play for 2 hours, but you have to go down to the shop and get me a blueberry pie because I'm feeling sick. And my mother, when I was young, she made me these great blueberry pies, and I want it. They go down to the shop, they're out of those blueberry pies. So then but then the baker is out sick and can't make any more. So they track down where the baker lives, and then she sets them on this quest to, for the recipe, and then they have to make it, but then they can't get. All these things kind of happen. There's constant obstacles.
Yep.
But the way that they talk, the way they go about it is just absolutely phenomenal.
Completely up my alley.
I think it's up everyone's alley.
Oh, amazing.
I used to think that about Rushmore though. And I do remember at the video store recommending Rushmore to every single customer who came in. And then from then, about 50% of those customers would come in and hold up 2 tapes. Go, which one do you like? Be like, I like the one in your left hand. And they go, okay, put that one down and take the one in their right. And that lasted a long time after Rushmore. But definitely...
awesome. It's on my list.
Definitely worth checking out. Okay.
Do we have a theme song for this segment?
No.
Oh, bugger.
No. But this game, it's called Farnsey or Barnsey.
I'm down for this, that's for sure.
Basically, I'm going to name a bunch of films, and you have to guess who is in the soundtrack. Is it Farnsey?
Okay.
Or is it Barnsey?
I love this.
All right.
Bit
So,
nervous,
I mean,
bit nervous.
we'll start off with the obvious ones for you, because I know you know these ones. So, Hot Rod.
That'd be Farnsey.
Indeed.
Which is like the greatest use of You're the Voice I can think of in movies, because they play it from start to finish. Like, it's the entire song. It's hilarious.
And, of course, Rad.
Rad would be Farnsey.
Indeed. How about...
Uh-oh, we're getting tricky.
How about Alan Partridge, Alpha Papa? Farnsey? Barnsey?
Gonna go Farnsey.
That's correct.
Excellent.
How about The Sum of Us?
The Sum of Us.
The Sum of Us, starring Russell Crowe and some other guy.
I'm gonna go... Oh, I want to go... Oh, I'm gonna go Barnsey on that one.
Barnsey, you are correct, sir. How about...
Can I just take that back for a second? When you said The Sum of Us, the first thing that came to my head was The Sum of All Fears. I'm trying to place a song in that.
Where in that movie would a Barnsey or a Farnsey song be
Burn for You?
appropriate? But in The Sum of Us, it Will Be All Right is the song that plays in that film. Okay, The Slugger's Wife with Rebecca De Mornay, who actually sings quite a few songs in the soundtrack herself.
Haven't seen it. Haven't seen it, so I'm just going to take an educated guess and go Farnsey.
Correct, sir.
Oh, yeah, I'm doing all right.
How about Fletch?
That's Farnsey.
That is Farnsey.
Yep.
The Lost Boys.
That's Jimmy and In Excess.
And Jimmy and In Excess, you are correct. 2 songs in that soundtrack. How about Hard Knocks? the Australian film about the
nice.
Sharpies. And it's-
God. Well, this could go either way. Thinking of the era.
This is a 70s movie, I think, or early 80s.
It's well that makes all the difference. Which one is
Which
it?
one is it? I did not write that down.
Okay,
It's a very young Tracy Mann.
I'm going to go Farnsey.
Incorrect. It is Jimmy Barnes.
Is it? So it
He
had
sings
to have
at
been
Breakfast-
80s, not
is-
70s.
Breakfast at Sweethearts.
Mm.
The Real McCaw.
What's that kid's name? He
Yeah, I
was
don't
like big at that time.
He was big. Jack. Was he Jack in
thought it
like
was-
Home and Away or something like that?
His
That's
name was
what he's-
Nathan something, not Nathan Cavalieri,
Yeah.
but he was that type of.
Yeah.
We had a few big little names back then. We had the little fat kid from Hey Dad. We had Nathan Cavalieri, and then this kid who was also, I think, in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie.
And was he in Joey as well? No.
No, getting your animal movies mixed up there,
Yeah.
mate. Okay, so I'm going to say Barnsey.
No, it's Farnsey.
Oh, now I'm just taking a nosedive.
When all else fails. How about, this is one of my favourite movies. I've talked about it on the show before.
Yep,
Voyage of the Rock Aliens.
that is Farnsey.
That is Farnsey. My world is empty without you, with Rainey.
Mm-hmm.
How about, this person performs the title, the main theme of Linda Blair's Savage Streets. Who is it? Barnsey? or
Barnsey.
Incorrect. So it is in fact Johnny Farnham.
This game sucks.
Nothing's going to stand in our way as the main theme.
Sorry,
And-
John. John's probably listening, and I'm just like,
And had I
Desecrating.
been allowed to pick a song for the end, it would have been that.
well,
'Cause
there
it
is only one song we can
It is
end
a
on.
banger. Actually, the Fletch song is pretty good too. Somebody,
Look.
okay, and who appears now? This is not actually a movie, but who appears in the Home and Away compilation CD featuring music that has appeared in some form or another on Home and Away.
Well, once again, that could be either or.
It could be, couldn't it?
Barnsey.
It is Barnes.
He feels more like a Summer Bay lad.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. there
Well,
we
there
go.
you go. That's it.
I mean, if you had to let me in on that, I could have maybe joined you and thrown you some.
No, I didn't. I wouldn't have liked that at all because I would have had no idea.
Frozen inside
Holy shit. Like, how many podcasts are there out there playing bangers like that? Break the Ice from Helen Needham's Rad. There's no other podcast playing that.
No.
Although it is sort of John Farnham fever at the moment. So maybe a lot are.
I don't think a lot of podcasts bother to pay like we pay to actually be allowed to play music in the show.
Well, that is true.
People don't know how lucky they are.
Exclusive. What I love about Rad, though, is that movie was shot in the town called Cochrane in Canada.
So I love Laurie Loughlin. Different strokes for different folks, I suppose.
I did go looking and I could not find a town called Hellwig. Sorry, mate.
Did you go to Germany?
I did.
Did you go to Romania?
I did.
Did you go to Hungary?
I went everywhere. Man. What an awesome time the 80s was, though, for movies like that. Like BMXs, skateboards, rollerblades. Man, there's nothing like it now.
I think the only two, and correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
the only two fads that didn't get their own movie was marbles and yo-yos.
Yeah, well, I mean, yo-yos have featured predominantly
in them.
They haven't had their own.
It hasn't been like a...
Let's start writing the yo-yo movie.
I need to travel across the USA to participate in a yo-yo competition.
Well, I mean, they have released a lot of albums. Yo-Yo Ma or whatever his name is.
He was on The West Wing. Yeah. And all of the young secretaries are like, oh, can I please go to Yo-Yo Ma? And you're like, come on, Aaron Sorkin. Stop inserting your own biases into this.
Do you remember Gleam in the Cube?
I do remember Gleam in the Cube. What a fantastic film. Mixing skateboard and backyard hitmen and
and Prayer of the
drug
Roller
dealers.
Boys. Prayer of the Roller Boys. Oh, that was the coolest thing ever. Trench coats and rollerblades couldn't get any better.
There are a lot. Oh, look, Rollerblade Warriors. There are a lot of those. Rollerblade Warriors, and that's the Prayer of the Roll. That's the one with Corey Haim?
Yep.
Or Feldman?
Yeah, Haim. Yep. Here's a question for you. Do you know what BMX stands for?
No.
Bicycle motocross.
Bicycle motocross. I wasn't even smart enough to be able to think on my feet enough to come up with
a smart ass
comedy. I was like, the X threw me.
Did you have a BMX? I had a mongoose.
I had a replica mongoose.
Replica mongoose.
Actually, maybe I did. I think I did have a BMX. Like when I was like 5 or 6. Like my first bike was a BMX.
Lucky.
And then after that, Dad was like, we don't need to get any name brands.
And one of those dads.
Any bike will do. Does it have 2 wheels? Yes. I've never owned a bike with gears.
Right.
So, and I live on a hill crest.
Overrated, mate. Overrated.
So to ride to school, it was great going to school. It was all downhill. Coming back home, all uphill. And on that little fucking BMX, what a nightmare. I could never... I've only ever done it once. The hill leading to my street is so steep that only once when I had someone else's, I think I borrowed my sister's bike and that had gears, was I able to ride up it all the way without having to stop and push.
I went through 3 types of bikes. I raced BMXs, so I had that.
Did you do it on the Early Bird Show with Marty the Monster?
No, but my drawing made it onto the Early Bird Show. And I remember just running around the house telling everyone, like my dad, my mum, my brother, like, I'm on the Early Bird Show, it's my painting. But of course, I only show off for 10 seconds. So by the time I got back to the TV, it had long gone.
It was all gone.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to say I hated that part of the show.
Well,
I was like, not the art part, the BMX part. I was like,
Oh,
get
right.
back to Transformers, you ass.
Although sometimes kids stacked, and that was always fun.
That is always fun.
Yeah. Anyway, so the reason we played that song was because, of course, as the new documentary covers, John Farnham is featured heavily on the Rad soundtrack. But I do have a question for you, just in regards to tacky music from the 80s and all that kind of stuff.
What are you trying to say about John Farnham's soundtrack work there, Glenn? That was a
terrible comment.
I don't understand why you would phrase it like that, considering that you know who's going to be listening to the show.
I love it. I do.
It's, too little, too late.
Okay, this requires an embarrassing answer from you.
All right.
Did you listen to music in your bedroom and pretend to be a rock star?
Yes, and in the shower, and in the lounge room. My mother, the glorious supporter of talent that she was, would constantly shake her head and say, yeah, Ben, you really can't sing.
You know,
and I'd be like, you know what? I just enjoy it. Why can't you just let me enjoy it? Why do you have to ruin it for me?
well, I fucking did. Like, I would be in my bedroom with a tennis racket guitar, and I'd have a mop upright, and the mop handle was my microphone. And there was nothing more mortifying because I had headphones on and I'm going at it, and then one of your parents walks in and you do not know that they're standing there, and you're going to town. You've got an audience in front of you. You can't let them down.
That's not the kind of going to town that I was scared my parents were going to walk in on.
That's pretty rad.
That's it. I thought so.
Lots of burnouts there.
When I discovered it, I thought it was pretty rad.
Oh, I can't link that to a joke.
No.
No.
That is the no.
But where I was going with that is that one of the albums that I used to pretend to be a rock star to was Chain Reaction.
Right.
The John Farnham was on cassette, and boy, did I go
See,
for it.
I think I may be getting myself into trouble here, but I didn't get. My parents didn't really give me pocket money or anything like that. I never had money, so I used to do
Steal stuff.
No, well, basically, I used to record it on the radio.
Oh yeah, I did that.
And so to this day, there are certain songs that I listen to, and when the song ends, in my head automatically I start singing the next song that was on that tape. Because I just used to listen to them over
just
and
the
over
voice
again.
of Ugly Phil in your head.
And sometimes, what was that? What was that dinosaur? Like, open the door, get on the floor. Everyone
Tin
do
Lids.
The Tin Lids.
Talking to Jimmy Barnes.
That dinosaur song.
Yeah.
That indelibly, when at the end, it doesn't have the DJ cue up the next song before I could hit the stop.
Yeah.
It's like, when you get an earworm and the only way to get rid of it is you have to sing the whole song completely. I need to say the line from the radio to be able to get that song out of my head.
Yeah. I always have Casey Kasem in my head when I'm listening to my old mixtapes.
I'm Casey Kasem. I'm Rob Kasem.
Yeah, you got some great songs out of the love song and dedication shows as well.
Yeah, to be honest, I used to listen to that on the way home from the video store, and I would always be in danger of falling asleep in the car because that guy's voice was so
soothing,
patronizing. I found him offensive. Years later, I appreciated it.
Yeah,
as almost as a gag, like as a
gag.
But at the time, I was like, could you be any less genuine?
Imagine doing that.
But
show.
his stuff was always hilarious.
Yeah,
But your partner's off at work at the moment, isn't he? So what do you want to say to him? I loves him lots. And when he comes home, I'll put his thing in my mouth just to show him how much. Jeez, come on.
Did you used to get off listening to Dr. Feelgood?
I wouldn't use the term get off to it. It was no Dolly Doctor.
I don't know where this is going now. It was spiraling out of control.
Yeah, and you're dragging us there.
I know.
Which I'm surprised
I'm
by.
enjoying it. Let me give you my personal connection to the Farnham family. I used to be their local.
I was going to say one of them owes you money.
I was their local video store guy, and yes, I used to come in, particularly Rob, and borrow video. So I need to really go through the old system and see if there's any late fees owing, and hit them up. Hit them up
before this episode goes to air.
Suss it out and bill them.
With
interest.
Added to today's inflation, your $2 late fee is now $2.25.
But get the video collectors debt collection agency onto them. Remember them?
Yeah, video minder or video defaulters.
Yeah, video defaulters. Love those guys. They always came up with the goods.
Yeah.
Let's just get to it. So I had the fortune of sitting down to talk to Rob Farnham for a chat. He's the singer in his own right. He's the lead singer of a band called Rival Fire. This was originally supposed to be a chat with his other son as well, James, but he was unwell at the time, which was a bit of a shame. Would have been great to talk to both of them. But nevertheless, this is a great chat. Hope you enjoy it, and then we'll catch you after the Boneheads. Well, first of all, welcome to the show, and thank you for making time for us. It's great to be chatting with you, mate.
Absolute pleasure, mate. Thank you for having me.
Goes without saying, I need to ask before we get started, how's your old man doing?
He's good. Cancer's a brutal thing for anybody. As he said before, a lot of people have walked it, and it's his turn. But he's cancer-free now, and he's at home grieving my mum, and all things are positive, mate. So
amazing. That's fantastic to hear. It really, really is. I don't know if your brother told you, but I used to be your old local video store guy.
He did tell me. Yeah.
You used to pop in all the time.
Really?
Yeah, back when you had your dreads. I think you were with Nanazami at that time.
Yeah, yeah, a long time ago. Long time ago. Different band, different hairstyle, different band now.
Yep. Anyway, so it's good to see you again.
Good to see you.
How has the whirlwind of press junkets and media engagements been? Is this a whole new thing for you?
Not really. Like, back in the day, I did a few movies, and I was in a movie called Queen of the Damned in my 20s, and I was in another movie called Wild Girls with Olivia and her daughter. Done a bit of press in the time, through bands and all that sort of stuff. So I actually enjoyed it. Yeah, I mean, who kind of doesn't, I guess.
Yeah, totally. When was the first time that you guys, as a family, saw the film? Was it at the premiere or before?
Myself and my brother got an early screening at in Sydney up at the Sony offices, and we loved it. Both him and I went in there ready not to tear shreds off it, but to sort of write some notes and just be prepared that it wasn't going to be true to life. And within the first 5 minutes, I put my notes down and just enjoyed it, because the director Poppy, she did such a great job. And it was true to life and real, and there was no bullshit in there, and it was just fantastic. I'm not a huge fan of music biopics. It's really my jam.
Yeah.
But I just thought this was just so real, and it was great.
Yeah, it was. It's one of the highlights of the year for me. I was at that Astor screening, and it just blew me away. In fact, your mum was sitting pretty much directly behind me, and I could just feel the emotion coming off her. Like it was.
I don't think she stopped crying through the whole thing. So, and that was the first time that she'd seen it.
Wow, what an environment to see it in for the first time.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Dad hasn't even seen it to this day. It's just not something that he would get across.
Yeah,
he doesn't like. Excuse me. He doesn't like watching himself on TV or read any kind of article or anything. So we'll have to force him to watch it. I don't think he's quite ready to watch it yet, just because there's his best mate Glenn, obviously passed away, and it's a hard watch for him. And Olivia, she was really close to him, and he took her, passing really, really hard. So I just don't think he's quite ready to watch it yet. But we'll get him to watch it.
That's fair enough too. But I can't imagine having not seen a film about you, but hearing the response from just the audience in general. The nation rallied behind this film like it went gangbusters.
Yeah, it really did. I think it's the top. Oh, it's the highest grossing music documentary in Australia of all time.
Yep.
By miles. And I think it got in the top 4 or something for highest grossing documentaries in all genres or something.
It was up there.
It kicked out the Beebs and a couple other notable documentaries. So it was pretty fantastic. And look, our family didn't want to do it. Dad particularly didn't really want to do it. He's not really the type of person that thinks that. He still gets shocked that people go to his shows. But Glenn talked him into it, and here we are. And I think it was good. I'm glad they ended up doing it.
Yeah, for sure. And so you said that your family didn't particularly want to do it in the first place. How involved were you once it got off the ground and was up and running?
We were kind of arm's length a little bit, because you never know how this stuff's going to turn out, and it's always a little bit of a roll of the dice. Like, you don't want to seem too dicky about it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of difficult. But because people have been starved, well, when I say people, Dad's fans have been starved for any sort of JF stuff for so long. It was just accepted. And there's a lot of people that have seen it that I wouldn't have expected to see it. A lot of my friends who came with me to the Sydney one and to the Melbourne one, they were in tears, and my bandmates and stuff, like, they were crying, just to see that was really special. And my socials, both of my socials, Instagram and Facebook, like just lit up with people from all over the country and beyond. They're just amazing messages and
Yeah,
of
incredible.
support and love, and it was pretty special.
Very, very cool. As kids, we don't really know a lot about our parents, and granted that you guys have grown up surrounded by the entertainment world, and your dad's been in sort of the spotlight. Did you learn anything new about him watching this movie?
I didn't, because I'm a huge fan anyway.
Yeah.
And so when I got into music when I was like 15, like seriously got into music, I went through his back catalogue, found out all the things he did. Like, there's so much in the documentary that wasn't mentioned as well.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff that he did in Los Angeles for the Rad soundtrack.
I was going to bring that up.
Break the Ice and Thunder in Your Heart, like that, and Playing the Wind. They're my favourite songs,
Yep.
And I would have loved to have heard Dad. I'm into heavy music, and I would have loved to have heard him sing for like Sabbath or something crazy like.
Yes.
He just has that crazy Dio voice kind of thing, So I got right into sort of his back catalogue and his early days in his career and struggles. My brother, on the other hand, he didn't realise how tough it was for Dad to go from John to Johnny.
Yep.
Johnny to John, sorry.
Yep.
And I think because he was born in 88, I was born in 81. So our experiences with that whole situation is very different.
Sure.
I saw through some of the tough times when I was younger, and then just the escalation of when things went gangbusters for him. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, incredible. I'm gonna sort of lead with some. I'm gonna go with some lighthearted questions now as we sort of bring it towards an end. You mentioned the Rad soundtrack, and that is how your dad's song ended up in the Hot Rod movie back in the day.
Yeah.
How did you guys react to that being in there? Did you know it was going to be used like that?
No. So I was. Where was it? So it's happened a couple of times to us actually. So that particular one. Mum and Dad like to watch random movies, and I'd never seen it. And then Dad's watching this movie, and it's Adam Sandberg, is it?
Yeah.
And he called me. He's like, Robert, and I'm like, yeah, mate. And he's like, I'm just watching this movie, and the bloody song came on. And I'm like, obviously we watched it, and he had no idea. Another time it happened, I was. It's on a Family Guy episode. Right, and I was like not a huge Family Guy person, but I was watching it at home and it was in the background. I was doing something on my laptop, and I heard ding 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 boom boom, and I'm like, what the hell? Like that's the Old Boy, and I had no idea, but that's publishing, and didn't know the rights to that song, so but that was pretty trippy to hear.
Particularly the way it was used in Hot Rod, because it was like a monumental set piece.
Yeah.
And they played the song all the way through pretty much.
I know. So yeah, that was a bit of a weird moment for him, for sure. But we that sort of stuff, it's amazing to see that stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
I get super chuffed, and he must just be, He was like, why? And I'm like, because it's a killer song, Dad. Like, you don't understand that, I think he's a singer's singer. Like, obviously, fans, he has a lot of fans too, but I think he's a singer's singer. You know how you have like Satriani and all that sort of stuff that are like guitarists.
Yep.
So I think he's that sort of internationally anyway. He's people that are singers. Are into it kind of thing.
Awesome. One thing I've been very curious to know about is like your old man has in the last, maybe 15, 20 years been known as like the comeback king. Like, I'm wondering if that's been a running gag in your family, if it's something that you just fucking hate.
Look, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's somewhat true.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why it just stings a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But a lot of things got blown out of proportion too.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I mean, I don't know if you're a musician yourself, but you have your moments where you're like, I don't want to do it anymore,
Mhm.
and you get that fire in you again, and then you know you sort of turn it around. And it's the same with a musician of that caliber. It's like you get to a point where you're like, well, no one's gonna give a shit anymore, and then they do,
Yeah.
and you're like, well, fuck, I'm gonna head back out on the road again. You know,
Yeah.
so. And it's not because of financial reasons or any of that stuff. It's as a performer, you know, it's what drives you. You know? So
Completely. Can't shake it.
no, you really can't. And I mean, whenever I bring a friend over or you know girlfriends or whatever like that, he's always on.
Yeah.
You know, you walk in, he's always at the front door. He's like, "G'day, mate," you know, and he's and then he's he's charming, he's funny. He is exactly what you think he is.
Mm-hmm.
He's very witty. He's very personable. He's charming. He's very funny, and he's pretty naughty too. So
That's so great to hear. It's so great to hear. And regardless of that, you know, let's say reputation, like he packs a house. It's irrelevant ultimately.
yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have fire explosions. He doesn't have any of the bullshit. It's just him with his band, and I think that his early career when he was so engaging with the audience, he has that crooner kind of aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Where he's very funny, he's very engaged with the audience, doesn't rely on a lot of the bullshit, and you don't get a lot of artists like that.
Yeah,
where you're there to see the show. You know, he kind of really draws you in, like that stupid song, "The Entertainer." He really just encapsulates that kind of thing. You know.
Mm-hmm, for sure. Do you have a favorite song of his? It's probably the worst question I could possibly ask you. But
No, it's really not. I've got "Playing to Win" tattooed across my chest.
amazing.
That's probably my favorite song, but it's so hard to pick. Like, there's that. There's "Burn Fuse," beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I loved a lot of the LRB stuff. "Thunder in Your Heart" from the Rad soundtrack, "Break the Ice" from the Rad soundtrack. I like a lot of his upbeat, sort of heavier.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
songs.
Yeah, the rock stuff.
Yeah, I think he's a great singer, just powerful singer. So.
Absolutely. You mentioned Little River Band there. Did you read last week they're doing a bloody biopic of the Little River Band? Like,
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. Like, obviously riding the coattails of this doco or something, but that I'm not too keen to see, but it's gonna happen.
Oh, look, I think that LRB they were huge, and even look, Dad, I think, did a fantastic job when he was around. I mean, he didn't like it for various reasons, but I mean, you can't deny the talent of that band.
Mm-hmm.
They had some amazing songs.
Yeah, absolutely. It's incredible what that band has sort of descended into now. Like, it's this whole other thing. It's ridiculous.
It's sad, but you just listen to the vocals. Like nowadays, you got Pro Tools with auto tune and really clean shit up. They didn't have any of that.
Yeah,
and that era is just, they have amazing harmonies.
Yes, for sure.
So I don't begrudge him doing that, like, at all. I mean, I'd definitely go and see it for sure.
Well, I'll probably have to. Oh, whatever it is, it will be. But I'm going to leave you with a funny story. Where I grew up, I lived right behind your dad's recording studio, and I used to sneak up to the windows and watch them record, right? And he was recording with Richard Marx, and
that's fine.
yeah,
Yeah,
I lived in the estate behind it, Warrenwood.
Right.
And he caught me at the window and he just gave me the thumbs up, and it was the best thing ever. It was the best thing ever. It's a teenager back then, but yeah, good times, mate. But your dad is an exceptional human being, an incredible musician and vocalist, and it's been an honor to talk about him with you, and thanks so much for giving us the time.
Well, I appreciate it, mate. Anytime, and thanks for the chat.
Welcome to Bonehead Weekly Fun Size. Now, Chad, we're missing someone. Who are we missing?
Is missing the right word?
I mean, he's not here. James
That is-
Thomas is not here.
He is not present.
I don't know where he is. So in that case, missing's kind of close, but at the same time, I don't know that I miss him.
I will whip out my milk carton and just slap a big old sticker of James on it.
I don't think you should say whip out that much. Now, Chad, what's our topic today?
Our topic today is going to be Australian musicians. So musicians from Australia that we really enjoy.
Oh, can I talk about some that I didn't know who were Australian?
Sure.
They've been hiding. Rick Springfield was born in Australia and then came to America. Did you know that?
I never knew Jesse's girl was Australian.
So is Iggy Azalea. What is up with that?
This is how out of touch I am with pop culture. I know the name, could not tell you one song.
I don't know what she sings either. I don't. It also has Flea listed, but I don't think that's accurate.
And it's kind of funny that we're doing this topic, folks, is because I'm not a big music person. Never have been. So I just don't have the attention span to listen to several different songs in a row.
I, on the other hand, am in the middle of the rat pack with the being music. Probably a little closer to James, and James probably knows more about music than both of us put together. But
And James
he's not here because he's dead to us.
Yes, exactly.
And just like Natalie Imbruglia, who is from
Australia. I knew she was Australian.
I did not know this. I am torn about who I should pick for my favorite Australian.
Well, why you
artist.
think? Let me get mine out of the way because I'll do a twofer. By far, my favorite Australian musician is Colin Hay.
Okay, I don't know who that is.
Yes, you do. Who can it be now?
Why is that your favorite one?
Down Under. Well, I just love his music. But one of my favorite songs of all time is his acoustic rendition of Overkill. And he was, I don't know if I don't think you watched Scrubs, but there was a great episode where he was playing that song as a corpse.
Yeah.
In the episode. But yeah, I just love it. I've watched it. I haven't seen it live, but I've watched it live several times, and it just moves me in a way that I can't explain. But I mean, I love all of it. I Can See It in Your Eyes, Down by the Sea. There are several Colin Hay songs that I really, really enjoy. And my second one is one who, I'll be honest with you all, this one started out in movies. I was obsessed with this woman. I only saw her in a couple of movies. I saw her in Biodome, and I'm like, who is this gorgeous woman? A couple of years later, I saw her in Street Fighter, and I said, there she is again. There's this gorgeous woman. Found out that was Kylie Minogue.
Yeah.
And that she was also a musician after that. And I enjoy her music simply because I get to look at Kylie Minogue.
I got to give you Kylie Minogue on that one. I actually think she's fairly talented. I do like a couple of her pop songs. And
by the way, I'm sorry if that made it seem like I don't like her music. I just love Kylie Minogue. And yes, her music is great.
Well, she's got a couple of songs I like, and she is quite fetching. Yeah. I'm going to. So Chad said your favorite Australian band's AC/DC. He may be right.
Yeah, I know I'm right.
No, you don't. You don't know me. You don't know me. One that I didn't know was an Australian band who I do love this song, even though it sucks, and it came out the same year I did. The Little River Band is from Australia, Chad.
Really?
The song Walking Through the Park and Reminiscing. That's Australian. Would you have ever guessed that?
No, and no offense, Australia. I hate that song.
I don't hate that song.
Oh God, it's one of those ones that's like it just pierces my brain.
And reminiscing. And actually, I've got to say, Michael Hutchins and NXS actually is really up there with AC/DC with me.
Yeah,
really up there. I love NXS. There's two or three, and another great one. And I'd hate to just keep bouncing around.
Because 5 minutes.
Because Crowded House is also Australian, and I didn't know it.
Oh wow!
See, aren't you glad I said another one?
Sure.
This has been Bonehead Weekly Fun Size. Sorry, we don't know anything about you, Australia. We're going to keep trying, though. We're going to keep trying.
All right, well, thank you, Boneheads. Yada, yada, yada. There we go. That's them.
I love the Little River Band. Love them. I love the Glen Shark years. I love the Farnsey years. I love it all.
I know.
Maybe not the new stuff, but I like the old stuff.
I do love that he brought them up because it does tie in very nicely.
There was a period of time where I would listen to Cool Change almost nonstop.
Hang on, help is on its way. Great stuff.
There's so many bangers.
Yeah. My
Night
mum
Out.
was not a critic like yours.
No, she
She encouraged it, and she
She-
was a fool.
she just didn't want me to go to school and audition for the choir and be humiliated in front of everyone.
Now, this is the part of the show where we do like to recommend stuff that we usually go for the obscure as opposed to the mainstream, simply because it's more interesting. It's the stuff we like.
I was gonna say it's just where our taste
Exactly.
lie.
Yeah. Exactly. You're right there.
It's the cola is the
Coming back to haunt you.
oldie cola is a bit more gaseous, shall we say, than the legit stuff.
Now, this might be a very short segment because the movie I want to recommend, obviously it's John Farnham related. I had forgotten that you have recommended this before. So I was going with Voyage of the Rock Aliens, which I do love this movie. I think when you recommended it last time, I hadn't seen it since I was young. And I revisited it a couple of weeks ago, knowing that we do this show.
Right. It's such a good movie.
It is a fantastic movie. This is something that I would love to see as a midnight movie. Like, it is that good. If you love schlocky movies, cult movies, got a penchant for stuff that would play as a midnight movie, you know, whether it's Rocky Horror, it's sort of that's a combination of that and Rock and Roll High School, a bit of Forbidden Zone, as if it's all produced by Troma. If you know any of those references, you'll understand what this movie kind of is. How would you describe this one?
It is a 50s teen sci-fi musical high school teen sex comedy with Michael Berryman and an angel and an alien monster.
And Craig Sheffer's first movie.
Lots of weird sex, double entendres.
But
and,
it's every other minute it breaks into song and dance.
Yeah, it does.
And they're great. Like, and it's not one of those movies where the songs are separated by 10-minute gaps. Like, it is just like, we've just finished one song. Let's
go into the other.
Go into the next one. I loved it. And I like too that Craig Sheffer was the only person hired to make this film that couldn't sing. And so he's the only one whose voice is dubbed over for the songs, which is hilarious because they didn't really pair his face with the voice very well.
No, but it's fine.
That makes it fun.
But yeah, and the thing that's really weird is the song that the lead actress, whose name just is
it Pia Zadora?
Pia Zadora does with the Jermaine Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
And
which was a music video in its own right.
Which, but the music video is like a Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome type thing, and yet it's for Voyage of the Rock Aliens.
It's kind of like when they did the start of Moonwalker, the Michael Jackson movie. Like, the first 20 minutes has nothing to do with the rest of the movie. It's like, just tack it on. But what I found amusing, I put this on sort of during the day on a weekend, just a perfect something to sit back and listen to, watch, I should say. And my wife was on the couch. She's just reading one of her ebooks or whatever. And that Jermaine Jackson part came on right at the start. And she looked up, she goes, I have not seen this in like 30 years. And she got right into it with me. And I'm like, I don't remember this like you do. Like, like she remembers it like a big cultural thing.
It was a big deal.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But the movie kind of just fell away into obscurity and never to be heard of again.
I don't know. I remember it. Look, I've got the VHS, and look, there's a couple of friends of mine who talk about it, and every time I would mention it on Facebook or something, they're like, they comment like, I don't know anyone else remembered this film. Like, who else is?
That's right.
It is such a bizarre one. But then I think, was it last year, the year before, Vinegar Syndrome brought it out on Blu-ray.
Yeah,
and it was like, definitely a film that deserved a new life, and I'm glad that someone gave it the HD treatment it so richly deserved.
The version I watched, of course, was just YouTube, but I have a funny feeling that was taken from an HD version. That's probably the Vinegar Syndrome one. I just adored watching this again, and so there's my recommendation. And the song, of course, that John Farnham sings in this is with Rainy Hayes, and it's My World Is Empty Without You. And there's no mistaking Farnsey's voice. When he comes on, you know exactly where it's from.
Yeah, yeah. Look, he does. Regardless of what you think of John Farnham, he does have an iconic voice that you can instantly, unlike Glenn Shorrock, he does. He's got Glenn Shorrock's he's got a great voice and stuff, but you're never going.
Well, he's not called The Voice, is he?
No,
there you go.
He's not like John Farnham. And considering that John Farnham, what I love about a lot of artists, and this is very big in Europe as well, but they start off their career where they would just do covers of them because of the way communication was at the time and stuff like that. Like, they would just be doing covers of American songs.
Yep. Yeah.
And or like, you know, like the French, like Johnny Halliday and stuff was doing all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And John Farnham was kind of like our version of it. That's where, you know, Sadie and all that kind of stuff
Of course.
came from. And Normie Rowe was doing the same thing. And,
Mhm.
you know, they were all doing these kind of covers of, you know, Herman and the Hermits kind of,
Yep.
you know, Brit pop songs and stuff. Because at the time, too, it was very much more, we were very much more British influenced than we were American
Absolutely.
influenced.
Which the documentary goes right into, dives
right.
into. So, what's your recommendation?
Well, look, I kept it to music, but I haven't
fine.
seen the John Farnham doco yet.
Mhm.
Uh,
Comes out this week on Blu-ray, which I'll throw a plug to at the end of the show, which we're nearly at. So
Fantastic. No, but I actually, Grant, my employer, recommended this a couple of weeks ago, and I thought it's a perfect opportunity to watch it.
Yep.
And also because she just passed away.
Mhm.
But I did watch the Nothing Compares, the Sinead O'Connor doco,
Right.
which I believe I watched on SBS On Demand. I think it's on there at the moment. What a fucking ripper of a doco!
Mhm. I haven't seen it. I'm probably going to do it tomorrow.
It's really well done, and
Yep.
it's like, and her career, like there's, you know, from what I understand, they do gloss over a bit,
Mhm.
but the kind of, you know, her career, her life is like so fascinating, and
Yep.
the kind of all of the shit she went through, and it's so weird to kind of watch this documentary and you see all of the things that happen to her now are basically standard today.
Yeah.
Like the amount of, you know, all of the things that she was protesting against now, everybody now acknowledges as truth. Whereas
Yep.
at the time,
Yep.
they basically, you know, she got death threats, she was booed on stage, all this sort of stuff for doing all these things, like drawing attention to these.
She was outrageous back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's all commonplace and expected, and everything that she said was true.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it was all.
What I love about these type of documentaries, particularly with someone like her, is that the average music listener just probably knows her as the one-hit wonder. Like, not realizing she's had a whole career. She's had her life has been tumultuous.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot more to her. So,
And that she was, you know, and this, like, you know, I don't know about you, but whenever I travel, I generally tend to go to a lot of record stores, or, you know, not even like record stores, like CD stores, whatever, music stores, and I just try and pick up whatever's local.
Yep, totally.
Like, I don't know who they are. I really do just kind of pick it based on the cover. If it looks all right, I'll give it a shot. And I also try and buy those, you know, hottest 20 hits of the summer kind of compilation things, because invariably there's like 5 American songs, but the rest are from whatever country I happen to be in.
Yep.
And you never find, like, she was a front man of a couple of bands before she moved to London and her solo career took off. You know, she talks about the first album and how that was a lot more kind of contrived by the producers, and she was kind of not that interested in it, and how then the second album, which has Nothing Compares to You, took off, and how that was much more personal. And yet they talk about all of how the artwork, how certain photos were not acceptable in America. Yet they went out and in the UK, and even the photographers and stuff didn't know. They were like,
and backlash from Prince over that one.
Yeah. You know, all sorts of these, and how big that song was.
Yep, absolutely.
How
iconic.
You know, and how it like changed her life kind of overnight to the point where she was completely unprepared for it. But you know, there's so much kind of stuff.
Awesome. I'm adding it to my list for sure. It's
definitely worth a watch, and you know, being on SBS On Demand, a perfect place to watch it.
Well, similarly, as I was about to say before, this new John Farnham Finding the Voice documentary is fantastic. Like, there's 2 incredible Aussie music docos this year, the other one being Ego, the Michael Gudinski story. They are both great companions. But this one, if you think you know John Farnham's career and life story, this movie goes much deeper, scratches beneath the surface, and it really highlights the difficulty he had, the actual difficulty going from Johnny to John. Like, that was a big, big thing. So the movie goes into that. It's all about the mateship he has with Glenn Wheatley. You know, it's a love story between the two of those guys. How they both put everything on the line for each other. How he stuck by Glenn Wheatley, you know, when he went to prison. It doesn't gloss over that. It really goes into that. It's fantastic. So I highly recommend it. It's the biggest documentary of the year here in Australia. So get on it, everyone. There we go. And we've reached the end of the show. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Glenn.
You know we're going out with a banger, don't you?
I have a sneaking.
You can hear it now, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's building. How could we not finish on You're the Voice? Simply for my own podcast ego, I want to end on your voice. I feel like a radio host is going out with a bang. If this is our last show, we may as well end it there.
Yeah.
See you next week, everyone.
We have the chance to turn the pages over. We can write what we want to write. We gotta make ends meet before we get much older. We're all someone's daughter. We're all someone's son. How long can we look at each other down the barrel of a gun? You're the voice, try and understand it. Make the noise and make it clear. We're not gonna sit in silence. We're not gonna live with fear. This time, we know we all can stand together. With the power to be powerful, believing we can make it better. We're all someone's daughter. We're all someone's son. How long can we look at each other down the barrel of a gun? You're the voice, try and understand it. Make the noise and make it clear. We're not gonna sit in silence. We're not gonna live with fear. We're all someone's daughter. We're all someone's son. How long can we look at each other down the barrel of a gun? You're the voice, try and understand it. Make the noise and make it clear. We're not gonna sit in silence. We're not gonna live with fear. We're not gonna sit in silence. We're not gonna live with
The other guy won't be around to talk to our kids. He won't understand when you're down. The way that I did, we had it all, you and I. think my mum was right.